Hello, and welcome to the Soul Sisters and Seekers podcast. My name is Aruna,
My name's Liz.
I'm Gayathri.
I'm Vidhya.
and we are four friends who love to talk about spirituality and related topics. Today, our question comes from Gayathri.
What is reincarnation? Do you believe in it? And how did you arrive at that decision? What is reincarnation and do I believe in it? Yes, I do. I do believe in reincarnation. But to me, I'm unable to substantiate why I believe in it. That's just an innate feeling that seems right. And I would love to hear what you ladies have to say about that.
Actually, one time was hypnotized to get a past life regression,
Oh,
and there were some things that came up, and I found it really interesting. And also, I have studied the work of Dolores Cannon, which and she states, and she's hypnotized thousands of people, and they all have the same type of story, that Earth is a school, and we're here to learn lessons. And when we don't learn those lessons, we have karma, and we come back until we learn those lessons.
absolutely. I think reincarnation is, important for the evolution of the soul. And because time is linear on Earth, there's always going to be past lives because you're always reincarnate. You can never reincarnate into the past. You'll always be reincarnating into the future of wherever you had your last life. I also think there's a lot of proof, especially with child prodigies and so on, that there's got to be, some sort of related memory. So if you're lucky enough to have some memory of a past life, sometimes that comes through, especially at a young age. I think when it's really, really fresh, when a life is fresh, a lot of cases where children, I was reading one thing today where a little boy was claiming that, oh, he was Princess Diana in his last life. He's a little boy in Australia, and he was citing places and, relationships and so on that he had no idea about, but, that he's saying that he's reincarnated from Princess Diana because he happened to see her face somewhere. So when a life is fresh, I think there's chances of that connection. And sometimes talents, they seem to carry over because there's such a passion for something that it carries over into the next life, because maybe that's why they took another life in the first place. So definitely I believe in reincarnation. I think there's there's a lot of cases where people are saying that there's enough ample proof to support that.
I
Yeah.
believe in reincarnation too. As much as I believe in karma, I do think both are related. We do build our karmas when we are living now at this moment for our future. So I do believe in reincarnation. And also, I come from a Hindu family where I'm made to believe. We've been taught stories of rebirths of Lord Krishna, like Dasavataram and Mahabharat, where he reincarnated almost like 9 times now. Whenever bad things took over all the good things on earth. So I do believe in reincarnation.
Do you any of you have any personal stories that you can share that if you are able to share, memories of reincarnation?
I don't have any memories, but I was hypnotized
Yeah.
and it was for past life regression. And one of the themes for me that the hypnotist came back with was my sense of self-worth. And we got that through story that came up during the regression, and I can't remember what exactly the story was, but that's in my past, and that's been an issue in this life too. So I'm working on that for sure. So
To me, when I was really young, maybe about not three, 4, 5, 6, that age, I had this massive, massive passion for Egypt and anything related to pyramids and Egyptian mythology, and I grew into that. So even as I got older, like even now, there's no end to me wanting to know about Egypt and history of Egypt, but it started at a very young age. Now, I think my earliest memory of looking at books on Egypt and looking at pyramids was about 6. That's my earliest memory. Then something happened that was very interesting about 4 years ago. I was with, at that time, a friend of mine, and I had this, I can't explain what it was, but it was almost a vision of Egypt, and it was her there, me there, and my sister there. And at that time, and I could see the 3 entities in the context of Egypt. But it was a surreal experience. If you know me, I tend to be a little plain, so I couldn't have thought that up, is what I'm trying to say.
So it's a vision. You had some
Yeah.
sort of vision.
Yeah, but it was the vision was not just a flat vision. It was sensory vision, like a lot of things coming in at the same time, not just like a flat thinking. But it was an interesting one. Then I started doubting myself. I didn't know if I was sort of hallucinating, doing whatever. Then I had a thought. Then I remembered something my sister had said. My sister's no more, but she had said that she had done past life regression with somebody. And this was about 20 years ago, she told me this. She said, oh, in one of my past life regression, one of my past lives, I was an Egypt princess, or, one of the smaller princesses in Egypt. But then this happened 4 years ago for me. I started piecing things in. I'm like, why would my sister be there? Why was my interest in Egypt? And then
That's
I
very
said,
cool.
but I still don't know what to make of it. But it was something that has never happened to me.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think my experience, the only time I really felt some sort of a familiarity or an affinity to one place, and I think I might have mentioned this earlier, is when I took a trip to China, and there was this kind of remote kind of a monastery, or they kind of had like all these where they used to have female nuns used to live there. So some sort of a monk, female monk place, I think. So I went there, and I just like this sense of like familiarity that I can't quite explain. And it was China, it was in China, which I've never been to China before. I've never really had like an affinity to the Chinese culture or language or anything like that, like not like you with Egypt. But that was just, I just felt kind of like a strange familiarity with that one place. So that's the only place that kind of, and that was back in 2007 actually. So it was quite a while back. But other than that, I think definitely uh kind of like more subtle feelings is relationships, right? Like you with your sister. I think there are certain souls that we kind of reincarnate with. We choose to say, oh, okay, like whether you make some sort of a soul contract, oh, I want to be your spouse again in the next life. Like my father before he passed, said that he would like to be with my mom again in the next life. And, I thought that was kind of really sweet, right? So, and I think sometimes that happens, right? When you're kind of born again. And then when you find each other, it's like, oh, like there's that sense of, home, right?
Familiarity.
Yeah. And whether it's a karmic relationship, where you're going to learn lessons, because 10 years later, it's
Yeah.
like, wait a second, that kind of attraction that we had and that love we had. And then you go through all of life's challenges, right? And then you're like, wow. But then there's still there's something that brought you together. There's some sort of magnetism that brought you together. So how do you explain that? How do you explain out of a whole room of people, what is it about that one person that pulled you to them, right? Or
Yeah.
pulled each of you to get to each other?
That's why we always say we get along with people who have similar frequencies. It's like however hard we try, we cannot get along with certain people. We just don't know why, right? It just doesn't go along well, our characteristics. So I do think in those times, like, it's like you've been reincarnated and you're meeting specific people, specific time, specific place for a reason. And there is a strong connection from past birth.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you guys are saying, that especially with people is when you see there's reincarnation come into play, right? Like you said, the word you used, Aruna, is familiarity. And I mean, rather, I said familiarity, you said home. Both are so true. With some people, you feel home, you feel
Yeah.
familiarity. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So we all believe in reincarnation then. So how can we use that in life? How can we use that knowledge in life?
I would think just try to build good karma when you know you're going to come back to this earth, because I do think attaining moksha or being one with God, it takes several births from what we've read through books and what we believe in. So it might take a long time, and so you're definitely going to come back. And if you don't want to, like, there are like densities, different densities and levels in spirituality. They say it's when you reincarnate, it's always going to the higher level, though there are some contradictory facts we've read about, which we don't know. So I would say to go to the next density, at least work through your good deeds and build a lot of them, so it takes you there.
Yeah, I think knowing that this is an earth school, and I think that gives you an attitude where, okay, I'm here for a reason, and instead of random things happening to us, I think if it's just random things happening to us, it's a lot harder to accept. So when things happen, when things happen that you don't want to happen, when good things happen, then no one's complaining, right? It's only when things don't go our way, or then that's when we kind of we have difficulty dealing with that. So, so knowing that we are here, and this is not our first rodeo, that there will be more, knowing that we're here to learn the lessons, I think we look at the situation, the challenging situation, and then ask ourselves, well, what can I learn from this situation going forward? And I think, and then so that I don't have to learn the same lessons again in my next life. So it kind of puts me a couple of steps forward, take me a couple of steps forward. So I think that's what reincarnation, the idea about reincarnation can help you on your spiritual path.
Yeah, I agree as well. It's also to put it in simpler terms, not make the same mistakes over and over again, but to see where we can evolve in every challenge. And I think that in itself will start putting us in a different trajectory. So, yeah.
My dad used to say, yeah, you can reincarnate, but you'll once you're a human, you'll always reincarnate as a human. But I've read in the Sai Satcharitra, like Sai Baba book, where there's a couple of brothers that fought each other violently, and then in their next life they were born as goats. So do you have any thoughts on the kind of the evolution of a soul and their experiences? And what do you think? Do you think it's possible to go backward?
I think interestingly, I was reading something similar, what Hinduism believes in and what Buddhism believes in. And as per Buddhism, it said, if you've been given a birth on earth as a human being, and if you don't realize your full potential of having the sixth sense, and if you still use your skills to fight like animals, there is a chance that you will go down the path. Like it will not be like an evolution upward, but it's like you will be born as animals again. So there is a saying, but I don't know if we can believe in it completely. But yes, reading from Sai Charita, that's what we've read, right? Like in even
Mhm.
the snake and the
frog,
snake,
I think.
yeah, frog, and yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some interesting stories in the Sai
Yeah.
Charitra, if you
Or
guys
it
want
may be also
to.
for people to be scared of, something to think about.
Yes.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Don't fight.
You don't
Be
have a
nice to
fast
everyone.
pass, okay? You
Yeah.
could go back. So yeah, watch
You may
yourself.
skip a level like snake
Yeah.
and the ladder and go down.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Do you think that there's something about when you come to this earth school and you create karma, are you stuck coming back repeatedly? Like when do we move on from this earth school? Like, does anybody have any thoughts about what comes after this?
You mean what are the steps to like
Yeah,
enlightenment and
like what
moksha,
happens?
liberation?
Liberation, yes.
Yes. Well, that's funny how they call it liberation, right? Yeah, I mean, they call it liberation because, clearly it's a freedom from the meat suit that we have to wear while we're here, right?
Right.
So I think I mean, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But I think it has to do with just, accepting and loving everyone and seeing the oneness in everything. And I think when you actually experience in true sense without the ego and you're truly connecting and you are truly treat everyone with love and respect and honor, and then see yourself and everyone in you, and you are not associating yourself with your ego, I think that's how you get close to that. So I don't know if other people have any other opinion on that.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same. I think from what we've heard through Aaron Apke podcast, that's what he says, like how to be loving to everyone, being kind, treating all living beings equally. And like Aruna said, in the truest sense, you need to feel it. It's not just thinking about it or wanting to do it. When you're able to do that, that's when you move on from, earth to the next level. And I think we have so many examples, like many people have done it. Like we know, we've read autobiography of a yogi, where we've read about Yogananda, then Ramana Maharishi. There are a few other people who have done it. Like, so.
Yeah. And there are, according to Hinduism, there's ways to get there too, right? There are different paths to get there.
Yep.
So
Yes.
there's,
Yeah.
the path of knowledge, the path of devotion. What are the other ones?
There's karma yoga,
Karma yoga,
service.
Service to others.
That's also the home route, right? I forget what it's called now.
Which one?
Where you're part of a home, like you're a family person.
Yeah, that's karma yoga, isn't it?
That's
Like
karma
doing
yoga.
your duty.
Okay.
Yeah. And Raja yoga.
Raja yoga is where we practice like Kriya yoga.
Yeah.
There are many different paths, like we do Hatha yoga, then
Okay.
pranayams.
Okay. So
There is
Raja
progress.
yoga, Jnana yoga, Jnana yoga
Jnana
is
yoga,
knowledge.
knowledge,
Karma yoga is service to others. And
service
then
to
Bhakti
others.
yoga
Bhakti
is
yoga,
devotion. Right.
Yes.
So those are the four. But yeah, there's lots of ways to get there. And I think eventually we all will get there. It might take a few hundred or 1,000 lives, but we'll get there. Thanks, Gayathri, for the wonderful questions. I think it was a very interesting conversation. I definitely believe that, we've all known each other in some previous lives. I think that's what has brought us together today, and to do this podcast, and really enjoy your company. I'm glad you are my soul sisters. And if you like what you're hearing, and if you like what you're watching, if you want to be part of this community, we do invite you to join the conversation in the comment section. And please, if you haven't done so already, press the subscribe button. We'd love to have you as part of our community. With that, I'd like to say, have a wonderful day, ladies. Namaste.
Namaste.